Imagine making a typo at work, a simple slip of the keyboard. Now imagine that same typo accidentally creates $40 billion, just out of thin air. Well, that's not some hypothetical story. It's exactly what happened in one of the most unbelievable blunders in crypto history. This is the story of the $40 billion Bitcoin blunder, and we're going to break down exactly how it all went down.
$40 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's the staggering amount that a major crypto exchange, Bithumb, accidentally credited to its users. And this wasn't a transfer of existing money. Nope, it was a creation. Money that simply did not exist a moment before.
And this is where the story goes from just wild to completely surreal. This phantom money, this ghost Bitcoin, was immediately treated as if it were real. I mean, within minutes, customers started trading it, cashing it out, and turning what was basically digital dust into actual currency.
Which brings us to the big mystery at the heart of all this. How is that even possible? How can you sell an asset that was never even there to begin with? Stick around, because we're about to pull back the curtain on the technical quirk that made this whole insane event possible.
All right, first things first, let's look at how a catastrophic error like this could even happen. It all started with something incredibly mundane, a simple promotional campaign.
So Bithumb, which is this huge player over in the South Korean market, wanted to run a little giveaway. The plan was super simple. Credit a few hundred customer accounts with a small amount of cash. Just a little bonus worth a couple $100 each. A totally standard marketing move.
And here you can see the mind-blowing scale of the error. An employee was supposed to input a giveaway of 620,000 Korean won, which is about $423, but instead, they typed the word Bitcoin. And with that one single word change, the system processed a giveaway of 620,000 Bitcoin, which at the time was worth a staggering $40 billion.
So, the mistake is made. The phantom money is officially out there. What happens next is just this frantic race against the clock. So let's break down the anatomy of this blunder, minute by chaotic minute. The chaos just unfolds at a terrifying speed. At minute 0, the typo happens. Within a single minute, that ghost Bitcoin is live and sitting in customer accounts. By minute 5, customers are already selling it for real money. An incredible 1,788 non-existent Bitcoin were sold before Bithumb could even react. It took them a full 20 minutes to realize what was happening and finally slam the brakes on the entire system.
And this brings us right back to our core question. How could those sales possibly have gone through? Well, the answer lies in this kind of hidden mechanism that powers almost every single major crypto exchange. This is the secret of the ghost Bitcoin.
Okay, so the key concept you need to get is the internal ledger. The easiest way to think about it is like a bartender's tab, right? When you order drinks all night, the bartender doesn't run your credit card every single time. They just make a little note on their own private tab. It's an internal record. Well, exchanges do the exact same thing to make trading lightning fast. They don't record every single trade on the public blockchain immediately.
And this is basically how that process works. Step 1, you hit buy or sell. Step 2, the exchange doesn't go to the blockchain. It just instantly updates its own private books. That's the internal ledger. And then step 3, later on, they bundle up tons of trades and settle them on the public blockchain in big batches. It's that gap, that delay between the instant ledger update and the final blockchain settlement that creates this critical window of vulnerability, where the exchange's books don't actually match reality. And check this out. This data from a regulatory filing is the big aha moment. Right before the incident, Bithumb physically held only 175 Bitcoin, but their internal ledger showed that their clients owned over 42,000. Now, this huge gap is actually normal for an exchange, but it proves the point. The system operates on the promise of Bitcoin, not always on the Bitcoin itself.
So here's the crucial part. When the employee made that typo, the system didn't check if Bithumb actually had 620,000 Bitcoin to give away. It just updated its internal ledger. And because that ledger said the Bitcoin was there, the system let customers trade it. They were trading pure data.
A $40 billion mistake? All based on phantom data? Yeah, as you can probably imagine, this sent absolute shockwaves through the government, kicking off an immediate and intense regulatory aftermath.
This quote from the head of South Korea's Financial Supervisory Service just perfectly captures the alarm. It wasn't just a glitch in the system. The fact that, as he put it, erroneously entered virtual data led to actual executed transactions was the core of the problem. The ghost had become real.
And the political reaction was just as sharp. This wasn't framed as a simple human error. Instead, it was called out as a deep structural weakness. The suggestion was that Bithumb wasn't the only exchange with this vulnerability. The entire system was likely flawed.
The response was swift. Bithumb scrambled and thankfully recovered most of the funds. They promised to put in much stricter, multi-level approval processes. Meanwhile, regulators held emergency meetings over the weekend, launched a review of all exchanges in the country, and started pushing hard for new legislation. So Bithumb plugs the hole, regulators step in, crisis averted, right? Well, not exactly. Because this incident pulled back the curtain on a fundamental truth about how most of us actually interact with crypto.
At its heart, what this whole blunder really did was expose a massive regulatory blind spot. The entire system of internal ledgers, the very thing designed for speed and convenience, operates in this kind of gray area outside the direct, transparent scrutiny of the blockchain.
And this is exactly why this story matters to everyone, not just Bithumb users. It forces all of us to ask a tough question about the centralized exchanges we trust and rely on. We trust that the numbers we see on the screen represent real assets, held securely for us. But do they?
This $40 billion blunder showed that sometimes the answer is no. It's a powerful reminder of the difference between what's recorded on a private server and what's actually secured on the blockchain. So the next time you log in, it's probably worth asking yourself, is my crypto really there?